essentially have to try and get this advantage again. But you can't think about the past when you're trying to move towards the future in a positive way. So Team Liquid needs to continue and build upon the things that were successful in the last game, utilize their blue side advantage, recognize the things that worked in this remade game against Cloud9, and try and do it again. It will absolutely test their mental fortitude to see if they are able to come back strong in this game.
Yep, Coach is back on stage as well, but the bans so far actually look, I think, identical. There's the change though. CNA will actually ban the Azir away and ban the Rise. So they've actually pivoted a little bit here, which makes sense.
Yeah, so they dropped the Braum ban and the Karma ban.
Yep, and with the Braum ban on the other side, I guess it was made up for by TL, but definitely Trundle's still left open. That's maybe the obvious pick for Lolo. It was banned in game 1, was not banned in that second game, and not going to be banned here either in official game 2, I guess we'll call it. Lolo is going to get that Trundle for himself, but Sheng was banned as well, so Impact maybe feels comfortable in that matchup.
Yeah, and I mean, I think Trundle is someone who can also beat Shen fairly easily in this matchup, and it's going to be one of those things where super late game, Trundle will be able to ult Shen and just become an absolute monster, which wouldn't have been a potential thing to do against Lissandra if this Shen does end up being locked in. But once again, Cloud9 with a lot of options on what they want to pick. Wouldn't be super surprised to see a Victor relatively early in this to make sure they have some damage, but they have all the options available to them.
Well, we'll see what CNA want to do here. On the same side, of course, that they were, but maybe going to change things up here and pick some bans. Already had some adjustments in the draft, so I mentioned that the coaching staff is of critical importance in this situation because they have to refresh again on what do we do after we have a bit more information, and it's Bard and Ashe actually. It's a bit of the adjustment, so steal that one away from Matt. I would too. In the Bard he's shown us already today.
Yeah, his Bard has been super on point, and I think it's important to deny someone a champion as skill intensive as Bard when someone's really in the zone. And that's what Matt was in the last game, landing all of his skill shots. Also, since the Ashe isn't... they just want to take the Ashe away from Fabi, keep the arrows out of his hands. And this will also change the matchup where Fabi was able to get a head on Jhin because the Bard is not there to support him.
Well, we'll see if TL look for some similar stuff there. Maybe Fabi still feels confident in the Jhin, but they willing to adjust support, of course. You can see Fabi there talking to Coach Loco, excuse me. His Team Liquid gonna flash a few pretty ones. They've played both of these champions before, and Lucky and Karma, and then the Jhin.
Yeah,
no Rengar this time.
They actually did a Zillion Rengar once, and he was just trying to zoom in. They could still do that, actually, if they wanted to move this Karma down to the bottom lane. But even though Karma saw a ton of support play early on, last week we saw a ton of mid play from it as well. So absolutely flexible right now, and Cloud9's going to have to... They can avoid committing to the mid lane matchup until they know exactly what's happening, so expect a jungler and top lane pick from Cloud9 right here.
Yeah, there's no big obvious mid lane champion that Jensen wants to take here, so I think they will delay that pick for the red side counter. What do they take though? Of course, Rek'Sai has the obvious opening here for Meteos. He's played it almost every game he's got an opportunity to. Does have that available to him once again. But Dardoch also holding onto that pick and did great on the Gragas. Maybe they feel like we kind of have to take this away. Maybe again they'll give Meteos potential jungle pick away here. But there's the Graves and there's the Shen.
Yeah, so the Graves worked very well with the Ashe as far as a follow-up on initiation. Also worked very well with the Shen in the first game because Meteos could put himself in dangerous situations and then just have the backup of a Shen shield coming in on the backside. So I like both of those picks for Cloud9. And this is super critical. The perfect roundup for that composition is Victor, but because they wanted to be able to counterpick the mid lane, they don't get to play Victor.
Yep, and there's Victor over plus Rek'Sai there for Team Liquid. So a good little steal there for Phoenix. That will push Karma down to that bottom lane and give it over to Matt, but he's just fine there on that champion as well. Curious to see Dardoch go back to the game 1 matchup as far as junglers go though. Decides to take Rek'Sai and didn't take it away this time. Meteos got the counter pick in game 1. Right. This time Meteos flashed in the grave, actually doesn't take the Rek'Sai, which is a bit unusual. Yep. And Dardoch says, I'm still confident in this matchup.
Exactly. I don't think there's anything that particularly says the Graves is better than Rek'Sai. I think Rek'Sai is actually favored in that matchup. But here I feel like Team Liquid's biggest difference is from game 1 when they played the Rek'Sai, is their team fighting is just really good this game. Tons of AoE, great late game scaling, good move speed augmentation from the Karma. And C9 is going to be trying to make a lot of map plays with Shen, TF, Ashe, Bard. That is a split push team.
This is a bit of a different look, but certainly a strong one here. Jensen hasn't played the TF too often. but certainly a strong pick for him here. You split most of your mid lanes, and you already said it. Global pressure is the name of the game here for C9. It's like, you know what? We kind of like it better when you played you around the map. Let's not 5v5 you this time around. Given the comp they've already shown them, I don't blame them.
Yeah, exactly. The playmaking from Team Liquid is a fair bit lower than it was last game. They can still kind of catch people out with some Jhin shots, but they have no Bard ultimates, they have no Gragas for really flashy engages, and it's really going to be on Cloud9 to set up the waves so they can get Twisted Fate or Ash Arrows or Shen to come and make plays. Like, that is pretty much your almost dream team as far as having global pressure if you're looking at what Cloud9 has.
Well, C9, they've shown again that the shot calling and the macro level in their game continues to rise despite the presence and strength they have in all their lanes. Can they get it done here with the Twisted Fate comp, or a Liquid gonna come out guns blazing once again and try and take over this second game? I guess we'll have to find out soon, but exciting to see. We very rarely get to see this many games in a best of 3, Jat, but we're gonna get a bonus game this time around. That's how we'll treat it.
Longest best of 3. We'll see whether or not these teams enjoy it.
Incorrect.
It'll be tricky. What's this?
There was you actually experienced the longest best of 3 ever, I believe.
I did. Team WE versus CLG EU. Spanned over 4 days. It actually got pushed back into an extra day back in Season 2. Group stage? Or no, it's quarterfinals. Semifinal? Quarterfinals, I think.
Just want to tell you,
Quarters.
you jinxed it.
Yeah, I jinxed it. This is going to be longer?
I hope not.
No, we'll be fine.
But,
Guaranteed pastry, no more remakes. My seal of approval.
all right, well.
I love jinxing things. It's my favorite thing.
Well, you've done a great job of it so far.
I'm not a superstitious person, so I'm all about just jinxing things.
Makes sense. Is he going to move out onto Summoner's Rift for the 3rd time, but effectively game 2 once again. C9 still up 1-0 in the best of 3. That's the most important thing to remember. Team Liquid looking to force a 3rd game here. Things have changed since the first few games we've played already. See what happens here. C9 have adjustments to be made here. Right now, grouping up as 5, going to invade into TL's blue side of the jungle, but Lolo spots him out, doesn't lose his Trinket Ward. Holds on to it this time. Sneaky does not get the bonus CS he got last time.
Yeah, and a full invade for Cloud9. Maybe, normally you'd think you invade if you're looking to lane swap. Technically, Cloud9 wouldn't be against lane swapping this, not because of the dual lane matchup, but because of Shen versus Trundle. Freak was talking about a little bit on the analyst desk. Trundle, just the king of top lane matchups, especially against Shen. Like, Shen cannot go toe-to-toe with Trundle super early on. Yes, he can put up that block shield, but then he's not doing much damage to Trundle during it, and then Trundle will continue to sustain damage.
I like this from Lolo, though. Clearly knows where the wards are, because he's hugging that right-hand side of the lane. Dodges all of the wards that C9 put down, but unfortunately for him, if he did want to look for that 1v1 matchup, he's going to miss it, because C9 have already put their dual lane top. You can see the lane swap now in effect. So Cloud9 wanted it, which it looks like they did. They have gotten it this time around as a...
Whoa, that's early gank.
Jensen's like, yep, probably have to get out of this one. Not enough skill slots to dodge. Gets the gold card down. Actually, it's Lolo into the turret and doesn't burn a flush. Are you kidding me?
I'm so impressed by his Summoner Spell discipline right there. Matt missed the Mantra Q, which gave Jensen the window to be able to walk away. And what is that? A somewhat heavy investment. It's early game. They're just losing a bit of tempo on the bottom lane. Gank. Jensen actually just uses his potions and he stays in lane. He doesn't even want to use a teleport yet.
Feels pretty healthy, but definitely strong play once again by Jensen, who seems to be almost invisible to the ganks of Team Liquid. Let's see what happens here in the jungle matchup, as again, we should expect a bit more farming in this particular jungle situation. Team Liquid, though, no stranger to lane swap. Both teams actually played the lane swap really well in the first game. I imagine they'll have it just as clean here in this one.
Yeah, and it's going to be really interesting to see what the cost of that gank in the mid lane was. The one way you can potentially be punished for sending those guys mid lane super early in the game is falling heavily behind in tempo on when the first turret dies. Because then you get into a trading situation where one team can get a second turret and you can't get your first turret. But looking at the turrets right now, it's very close. Team Liquid's still getting that bottom turret down. Meanwhile, they've just been able to burn all of Jensen's health potions for free. So strategically, very successful for Team Liquid, even if they didn't burn flash from Jensen. And now they might get that flash.
Can he magic his way out of this one? Gold card again, cleanse out from Phoenix. That'll force a flash, but
they're gonna
Dardo's
kill
gonna
him.
chase. They're gonna keep looking for a Phoenix lands the Q, and that's first blood to Team Liquid.
Beautiful timing there by Team Liquid, and we spoke about the mental fortitude of being able to come back after remake. Mido's trying to get Dardoch, though. Nice knock-up.
Yep, Umbara's there, but Medios with the red buff. Phoenix runs interference, and Dardoch slithers away to safety, as that's the TP down for Jensen in mid lane as well.
Yeah, C9 doesn't back away from their aggression, or TL doesn't back away from their aggression from game 2 in the slightest in game 2, number 2.
Yep.
And getting the first blood on a Phoenix is really massive because he needs to be able to shove Jensen in so that Jensen can't get Twisted Fate rooms off.
Well, Jensen still holding control of the lane, but Phoenix farming up very nicely here, up in CS by a bit. And Jensen pre-6 isn't going to do too much other than farm the wave out. Dardoch, though, taking that red buff. He's a little low. Meteos has spotted him! Flashes over it! And now looks for Dardoch. Doesn't quite get it, though. And Dardoch, how did you get out of that?
Woo! It's because of the percentage heal when you smite red buff. He hadn't smited it, and he actually had smite up right there, whereas when Meteos warded, you saw he was super low, maybe thought he'd already smited it, and that was almost a perfect counter jungling in a very greedy path by Dardoch, but he gets the red, he gets out, he trades flashes, all good for Dardoch.
Nice ward there for C9, but play doesn't quite convert there for Meteos, as that was a hyper-aggressive play to try and make an advantage. Doesn't happen, though, and we'll continue back farming here in this mid lane. Jensen definitely playing a little further back now. Doesn't want Dardoch to come visiting in that lane again, as Favi and Sneaky have actually met up here in this lane. So a bit of a difference from the first game lane swap. No turret trades this time. We'll actually have standard lanes, but Cloud9, at least their duo right now is a turret to get back to. Is Jensen going to dodge that pillar? No.
Flash, but also a turret. That'll help.
Meteos there as well. Lolo can't quite get that one.
Yeah, Jensen is getting really punished in this lane, though. Tons of ganks his way, still without flash, only has boots and Adorns. So not able to get much done. And then to add insult to injury, Impact is freezing right now. So the ganks will continue. This is always something a team needs to make a very conscious choice when doing. If you're going to freeze, the rest of your map can get put under immense pressure. And especially in League of Legends today, teams are so good at either breaking freezes or killing the rest of the map while it's happening. So right now, with Jensen having no pressure in mid lane and no wards in the side for Impact's jungle, that freeze can get very quickly broken if Dardoch, Lorlo just go for him right now.
And they're actually looking to do that now. Lola going to try and push things in. Impact puts up the Spirit's Refuge, but doesn't block off quite enough. You can see the taunt there is good onto Lola, but the damage has already been done here. Lolo still holding his ground despite the winning trade there for Impact. Dardoch's in his back pocket, so doesn't have to worry too much, but he wants mid lane or Meteos.
Oh man, if he had been a little bit more patient there, he was waiting. This was actually C9 being rewarded because they were behind on the play. Typically, when he's freezing a wave and a large wave is going to crash into the turret of an underlevel top laner, you need your own jungler to lend support there. So Dardoch, expecting that, was waiting in the jungle. But when he realized Meteos wasn't coming, he thought maybe he has no idea that this is happening and he's just not there. As soon as he goes to leave, Meteos was actually on his way, but he was late. But because of that timing, C9 gets away with it. Impact gets to continue farming minions, and Dardoch ends up wasting time.
Yeah, Dardoch actually a little impatient again. Does not commit to the dive because Jensen is playing ultra safe with no summoners up right now. Does hit level 6, but has to kind of make space in the lane in order to roam it out. Impact with that freeze. I think still going in that bottom side. Might be a decent target for it, but right now Jensen being held down again. Team Liquid's plan from the remake game does seem to be holding true so far. As Dardoch's at it again.
Yeah, he sweeps as well to make sure he's not spotted, but everything's gone in the jungle. Like, he's not going to full duel a Graves with 2 longswords while he's sitting on a Sightstone. He would definitely need help, but he did spot Meteos, so now they can try and prep a gank. Yeah, Meteos, you'll have nowhere to run, bud.
Caught out of position. There's the knockup coming in. Death rate's good, but Jen's going to try and snare something up. The Cosmic Binding does not land. But Meteos does survive.
Just barely right there. I don't believe Phoenix was level 6 at the very start of that. Otherwise, he would have pressed his ultimate, or he was low on mana. One of the two things, because it looked like they completely had caught Meteos there. But again, Team Liquid unable to reap the rewards of what was a pretty significant information advantage.
Well, it's unfortunate for them. Their aggression been stifled a bit here in the first 8 minutes. Meteos clearing things out. Warriors on the way. I imagine he'll be going a similar build to his first one in game 1. Actually built Black Cleaver as his first major item after the jungle enchant. So curious to see if he goes down that path again. Sneaky and Smoothie though, just farming up a Storm. Level 6 unfortunately available on that play, but again, everyone's just chilling out.
Yeah, and Team Liquid's window for aggressive plays is narrowing a lot when C9 hits level 6 on TF and level 6 on Shen, which they've done. And TL only got 1 kill in the pre-level 6 phase, but now C9 has their map impacting ultimates. So look for them to try and make a move here as Team Liquid just barely missed out on a lot of those early game conversions.
Yep. Could be interesting to see though if maybe TL feel a bit better in their scaling this time. They do have the Trundle into that Shen. We saw it with the Fiora where Lola wasn't able to get going. This time around, things are looking just fine for the early game, so maybe TL do feel a bit more confident with this composition, actually taking the game a little bit later. We'll have to see though, as Phoenix does get himself the blue buff. Going to return to mid lane, but Jensen looks like he's going for that Rod of Ages with the early Catalyst plus the cooldown boots already built up. But again, he's just trying not to die right now.
Mostly, and Rod of Ages is a very good way of doing that. It's also a good scaling item for Twisted Fate, whereas especially with the pressure Team Liquid is putting on them early, C9 going to be fairly content with just trying to scale while they look to create numbers advantages. And that is one thing with C9's team comp right now. Because of all of the globals, it doesn't necessarily matter if they all build super strong selfish items, since all of their kills are going to be because they have vast numbers advantages anyway. Since so many of their champion kits are built in towards globals, if they're in an even numbered fight, they're probably going to lose it. Therefore, the items don't actually have as much of a say at this early point in the game.
Well, again, if the map opens up a bit more, we did have a slight twist on the usual lane swap. Map opening up a little bit more now, though, actually, as we're just kind of delaying these tower trades. Meteor, Smoothie, and Sneaky all teamed up here. Knocking that bottom outer turret awfully low, but
yeah,
don't take it just yet.
Got a lot of damage, and they actually proc Rangers focus on Ash to try and get more. This will open them up for maybe a play by Dardoch, but the rest of his team's just not there yet.
Yep, binding out from Smoothie. Snare does land.
Go, maybe?
Smoothie bounce. No, Dardoch flashes in for it. But the Shen Stand United's going to follow in. Now he's out of range, but Jensen's going to come down as well. Nolo now snared up. They caught him on the back end, trying to move in for it. Sneaky takes him out. The Victor ulti's out, though, trying to chunk out Meteos, but Matt's going to be forced to flash out from under that stun. Fabi trying to kite away. Impact tanking up the front side there as well on the top half. Impact forced to flash. Medical journey out to safety. Impact takes it. Everybody's out the tunnel. And C9 get away with it.
Oh my goodness. In that fight, Lorlo thought he was something that he was not. And that thing is a tank. He's built only offensive items, so you cannot flank on that champion this early in the game unless he has tankiness. The plan for Team Liquid was to teleport in with, or just run in with Lorlo and Phoenix and get the flank off, but he was too squishy. C9 could very easily just turn and fight him, because that was a play that could have actually worked out for Team Liquid had they spaced a little bit better on their initiation. Notice how Sneaky was down some damage by proccing Ranger focused, and then Dardoch was super clutch on this interrupted Smoothie while going through the magical journey, but the shot from Fabi was not on the same page, so it actually missed. They could have chained that fairly well. But now, Lola runs in while the rest of his team is still collapsing. Notice he's dead before Fabi is even there, and then Phoenix approaches afterwards. If they could have just synced their initiation, they technically had the angles to cut off Cloud9. But they did not sync. Cloud9 can burn down Lola very quickly, and then as TL is actually all there together, they still would have won the fight, but the magical journey comes back up, and Smoothie's able to save the whole team.
Yep, nice play there from Cloud9 as Infernal Drake did go over to TL just before the replay as well. So an effective objective trade there. Infernal Drake for Team Liquid, a tower for Cloud9 as they'll be up 2-1 up in structures. They got a kill out of the deal as well. So you talked about already that collapse from C9. Obviously amazing with Twisted Fate and Shen, as Jensen's going to get picked on again here. Phoenix still going to get it in. Good pillar. Gravity Field's going to stop him out, but he has to go forward. Great instant gold card. And Lolo eats a huge amount of damage under the turret.
Yeah, not too many ways to avoid that gank. We know Jensen really likes to save his flash, but he had to use it right there. The pillar slowed him down. The Gravity Field cut off his path. And he takes just the right moment to flash away. Still heavily getting focused in that mid lane, though, and Jensen definitely hasn't been able to put a stamp on this game.
Yeah, no, not yet. Just that one Twisted Fate ultimate we saw earlier is actually down almost 20 CS in this lane. So Phoenix making a good run here with Victor early on. It's a champion we expect Phoenix to do big things on, so him being strong in the early game is excellent news for Team Liquid. Cloud9, they're looking to make another play with the Ashe Bard ultis, but spotted up by a ward. Sneaky's going to put a pink down in that brush and clear it out. As Impact is trying to do some stuff here in the top lane. Dardoch's here to join in.
Yeah, it'll be really interesting to see if Team Liquid ult defensively or offensively right here. This one would require a defensive ult. Sneaky and Jensen could aid, or Impact's just going to waddle away.
Yeah, Sneaky and Smoothie off to the right, I think, caused problems there. Rift Herald also very important. I saw how Sheng was able to kind of guide his way through the Fiora lane.
Yeah, and this is actually pretty risky. Rift Herald takes a long time to kill here, and it's a lot of damage, and Team Liquid have him cornered here. This is not what you want as a global team, to be caught as a group.
No, it certainly isn't. Now they're caught in the Rift Herald pit. Now Team Liquid going to try and take it out. The ulti's out from Bard. Lands onto 2, but the Rift Herald's still there. Good cosmic binding, though, to Dardoch. TL just need to kill it more than anything else, and they do get it.
Yeah, and the posturing by Team Liquid there, as all the shots from Fabi miss, was super aggressive because Fabi wasn't even there. So that was technically a 4v5 threatened by TL, but C9 still has to back away from it.
I love it. Team Liquid continuing the pressure here in this game number 2. Gold nice and even. Objectives looking pretty close there as well, so TL going to give Lolo a much-needed advantage with Glimpse of the Void. Curious to see if you can do some real damage in that 1v1, even in CS for now, but Impact, this lane gets worse, not better, as time goes on.
He's going to be rushing the Hydra, and I can still understand the logic of rushing an offensive item against Shen, is because in the duel you're going to steal his resistances anyway, so you're going to try and then capitalize on the amount of damage you have. But that makes your team fight collapse way weaker, as we've already seen. So look for Team Liquid to try and get the isolated situations, which is going to be really difficult against Cloud9, who's all about spreading you out and then ulting in.
And again, Cloud9 sort of defaulting back to the macro play that really got them the win there in the first game. We'll see if Team Liquid can kind of break through that. But right now, things have been a little bit quieter, which I don't think Team Liquid are too happy about. Phoenix, they're going to get himself the blue. Again, there is scaling here for TL, so they're probably a bit happier than they were before to play for the late game. I think at that point, it's just a matter of execution, because Cloud9 and TL showed that for 25 minutes in game one, they were close.
Yeah.
But as soon as like little things started to break here and there, Cloud9 just took over the game, and TL cannot let that happen here in this second one.
Yeah, and they're actually going to be in a little bit of trouble here as Meteos is dashed over the wall with a red buff. Dardoch's going to try and cut him off.
Finding doesn't find him, but here's the collapse from Twist of Fate. Meteos gets out with the ulti, but Dardoch finds a double on Burrow. Dardoch with the target, Phoenix in, Smoothie out through the magical journey, but the shot's fired. Fabi gets a snipe on the back end, and now finds Sneaky as well. TL collapse and get a kill.
An amazing collapse right there, where Cloud9 are the ones that have all the globals, Twisted Fate ultimate and Shen ultimate used, but it's actually while Meteos is making an aggressive play, the Team Liquid's able to come down, so very good awareness by them, and they might be able to take the mid-turret off that as well.
And this is a big windfall actually for TL, starting to break open the game. Cloud9 looking to make plays, but didn't find it there in that jungle. They are going to break this crucial turret. TF does still have wave clear, even though he's no 0 victor.
Yeah.
And that's not a good turret for C9 to lose. It's now even in turrets, but TL have the map advantage, especially with teleports being down. Lolo can start running amok once again here.
Yeah, I mean, to speak to your scaling point, it's not like either of these teams are slouches from a scaling perspective, but Lorlo, low on mana, they're going to go for him. Shen is teleporting in behind, Smoothie trying to save.
It's quite the flank, but Sneaky's just looking to bait him in. Smoothie going to move in. Lolo just wants to kill, but he's not going to be lucky this time. Sneaky actually going to collect it.
Impact will be like, you know, I teleported in. You didn't need me, but I'll take the ward. I'm here for a reason.
A team player. Through and through. Hold Impact. There's Matt and Jensen.
Whoa.
Oh, Fabi again nailing with a skill shot. Matt, though, going to get stunned up, and that's all she wrote on that play. Still, again, Jensen just constantly being pressured in this game.
Yeah, the amount of focus that TL is putting towards Jensen is huge, and C9 will need to be able to take the pressure off him a little bit. It's going to be really tough, though, with Lorlo getting Glimpse of the Void from the Rift Herald and Impact being on Shen. That's not a matchup where the Shen's going to be able to get lane pressure against a Trundle, which makes it really difficult to take any pressure off the mid lane. Obviously, Sneaky's picked up a few kills, which will be nice, and really Cloud9 will have to make the plays if they want to get Jensen farm.
Well, Dardoch actually aggressively goes in.
Misses
Not
a little bit.
Sure he knew what was on the other side of that tunnel, but he's not connect with the Unburrow.
He doesn't care. He's going where he wants.
Certainly does it. Scuttercrab's down. Infernal Drake is up. TL maybe looking for Drake number 2. Starting to stack a huge amount of buffs, perhaps.
Yeah, double Inferno with a Victor is pretty insane as well. Cloud9 doesn't want to just straight up do a 5v5. Remember, we talked about how they have all these global initiations, but if you're able to control the map and not have any split push pressure, like Team Liquid's composition will be stronger in those 5v5s. So second Infernal Drake going down to Team Liquid, and I really have to commend them for the start of this game after the unfortunate circumstances of the remake to keep the pressure on Cloud9.
And this was the ping from Cloud9. As soon as I saw that Infernal Drake, they pinged to try and take the top tower, but Rek'Sai going to move in for it. Twisted Fate's here as well, but Matt's chasing down Meteos. Fabi opens up, finds one onto Meteos. Dardoch going to get snared, but now Meteos is sort of caught out. The magical journey takes them back though as Bard. Going to miss the ulti a little bit. Shen in onto Meteos. C9 looking for a kill, but grasping at straws, they get nothing off that play.
Yeah, a bunch of ultimates burned right there. Lorlo actually managed to interrupt Impact's ultimate on the other side to prevent him from joining the fight. But yeah, just not the cleanest engagement by Dardoch as he followed through the magical journey and then actually had to tunnel back out. He didn't have the follow-up because he cleared so much distance from the magical journey. But at the same time, they technically burned all of Cloud9's global tools and were not punished.
Well, we'll see if TL can answer back, but Cloud9 just going to back away. Impact still in that bottom half as Phoenix actually going to chase Meteos, but that'll be a quick draw out to safety. Meteos gets out of that one. Phoenix is starting to get pretty large in this game. 20 CS up 2 upgrades with the Rylos on the way. Not going to finish the perfect hex score just yet, but the pressure never stops. Dardoch, despite having the Rek'Sai this time around, can apply map pressure. And it's going to take this away from Meteos. Meteos kind of sees what's going on, but getting chased up by Phoenix anyway. Ooh, commit. No, Jensen. Good gold card. Phoenix backs off. Despite the cleanse, Phoenix did not want to overcommit for that one.
Yeah, and this is really feeling a little bit similar to the first game we played in this series, where the golden kills were very close and very low in kills throughout most of it. And the breaking point for that game was actually Impact soloing Lorlo out a few times. What's interesting here, though, is Lorlo now has maybe a safer, favorable matchup, but the focus is really on Jensen.
Yep, gonna get knocked up again. Actually, no help needed, perhaps. Jensen gonna stun up Dardoch, but Dardoch almost souls him. Gonna flash forward for it. Red buff almost enough. Price Seeker gets juked out, and the death ray out with the Caretaker's speed.
Oh my god, Jensen's so close to getting soloed out, but whenever he needs to dodge a skill shot, he will dodge the skill shot. Amazing skill at the very end there to be able to dodge it, but Dardoch nearly just as impressive, like understanding his power spike on Rek'Sai right now with the Cinderhulk and a large level lead as far as the jungler is concerned, equal level to the mid laner, just be able to solo him and get the tunnel plus the red buff, but it can't quite convert the kill. That's at least the 3rd or 4th time this game where Team Liquid has been within a hair of picking up a kill.
Yep.
And this could very well be a 6 kill to 2 game with a 3,000 gold edge, but it's not. It's 500 gold.
It isn't, and Jensen works his magic again to get out of that situation. I will say that while this does feel very similar to our first game, the difference I think for me is that Team Liquid aren't just kind of letting Cloud9 dictate the pace of the game to them anymore. They're playing much more proactively. They've had, I would say, control at least of the pace for the last few minutes, but Cloud9 could be opening something up here as they do look to push mid. There is definitely push and pull here in this game, and Liquid would like a lead that they could have built here. But all things considered, Liquid, they're no longer just saying, we're not going to scale and try and fight you. We're going to constantly play up in you. And it's just showing in their movement and even plays like this.
Yeah, keep in mind he has double Infernal Drake, but he doesn't have much attack damage or ability power because he's Rek'Sai. The minions really helped him in this duel because they're all chasing Jensen throughout this. Jensen gets the gold card, Dardoch flashes, but then Jensen counter flashes. And if that Prey Seeker lands, Jensen is dead. Then the Bard heal speeds him up a little bit to help him dodge out from the laser. Such a narrow escape.
Super impressive play there from Jensen, but crisp movement as always gets him out from under it. Cloud9 though, still under attack it feels like. Team Liquid constantly pushing up in these lanes, starting to maybe abuse their strength here. Victor Rylai's done. STF ulti looking for
play.
Yep, mid lane. They want Phoenix, but they're going to find actually just Dardoch. They're right in the Shen as well, but Jensen actually stunned up on the other side. Lolo wreaking havoc, and the damage is huge. Impact now going to get himself unborrowed as Team Liquid charge forward. Sneaky going to get blown to pieces by Phoenix, and Team Liquid wipe the floor with a team fight as Meteos is lucky to be alive.
I am so impressed by Team Liquid's ability to collapse despite how outmatched they are from a champion perspective in collapsing. We're talking about a Shen, TF, Ashe, Bard team, and TL is pushing them around the map. That is insane. That should not be able to happen, but Team Liquid is consistently doing it. They win that fight 4-0, and now they turn for Baron.
Yep, the reward is a big old Baron buff. Meteos is in the area. He's gonna try for a steal, but I don't think he'll make it in time.
Got Flash and Smite, and Phoenix wants to assassinate him.
Death ray damage, not quite enough. Meteos hero, no, Lola goes in, stole it!
If that is the type of play that could tilt you, unreal. Instead of just killing him, they do a bunch of poke. Everyone was low and obviously afraid of Meteos, but that is a hero play if I've ever seen one.
And there's another.
Meteos dies to Smoothie. Phase 3 time. What is happening in this game? This was so close to Team Liquid running away with it, but now it is still a game because of that steal by Meteos.
Wind knocked straight out of the sails for Team Liquid. In fact, that snipe from Sneaky might net them a turret. Dardoch tunnels forward at them to try and protect this turret, but Jensen's got a sheen. This poke's going to be good. He throws up the gold card to zone them off, and they'll actually break the mid turret here. Cloud9 even the game right back up.
Yeah, and Drake is coming back. This could have been Infernal number 3 for them, but it's up in 20 seconds. Impact could technically teleport down. The waves aren't managed properly for Team Liquid, and Phoenix is dead. So I still actually expect Team Liquid to try and fight something here, because a third Infernal Drake might lock it up.
Well, certainly something they want, but Cloud9 know this. They're going to move straight towards the area. Timing looks favorable for Cloud9 as they collapse immediately onto the objective.
So favorable. They should be starting it right away, but they might be taking their time a little bit because they do have Impact in split push position, but this just means Team Liquid has now bought the time for Phoenix to run up there. They need to go immediately into the Drake and just do it. They have double Infernal. They've been winning the team fights. They should go.
Cloud9 waiting for ultis, but they maybe caught Jensen. Shen no coming in. Now Jensen gonna get blown up.
Whoa.
Phoenix takes him out after the flash, and Sneaky's caught now as well. Dardoch unrelenting. Flashes forward as Matt collects another.
As nice as the third Infernal Drake is, 2 kills in the mid lane is pretty darn good as well. They do have to worry, though, about the Baron buffed Shen, who's on the other side of the map, taking down the turrets. They're going for that mid lane inhibitor, though. They're trying to continue to push the tempo.
Yep, race is on. Lola does not have his TP, by the way, but Meteos is unable to defend this pressure. Team Liquid, they take a hit and they just keep coming.
Yeah.
Such impressive resilience from this team.
The resiliency is really the thing, and it's still crazy that they're up against this Shen TF composition, and they're playing so well against it. They're not putting themselves in positions where they can easily be collapsed upon, and they're very willing to fight back. They build very strong dueling items and a lot of just innate resiliency in a few of them. Like the Rylai's before the triple hex cord upgrade from Phoenix is actually more critical than you think because of the extra health. The super defensive build from Dardoch, he didn't go Titanic Hydra, he went for the Randwin's Omen. And then Trundle can obviously ult the Shen, and he's building damage to be able to keep up with that. Just smart things from Team Liquid here, and they're the ones forcing the fight on the team with seemingly way more initiation.
Yeah, and game is actually surprisingly close, all things considered. TL well up in kills, but the gold lead does not necessarily reflect how far ahead TL are. Third Infernal Drake is a big lead that is not reflected in the gold, but more than anything, with the way their teams are playing, TL feel very far ahead.
Yeah, the triple Infernal Drake, that's gotta feel good.
Yeah.
24% attack damage and ability power, and now they're gonna get Mountain after that if they can pick up another Drake. But let's watch this steal. This is from a while ago, but it's really the reason this game is still happening even. Oh my god. And then Phoenix very easily finishes him off afterwards, but like, yep, that's the feel right there. Because Dardoch, as a jungler, I can respect that. Lorlo and Phoenix, he told them both, like, yo, just finish him. And he wants him to stop damage on Baron while Meteos is in threat to steal it. But I think they were so low, there's also a call that they need to finish Baron quickly so they don't die. Like, that was basically a 20-minute Baron. We're only 25 minutes into the game right now, and that happened 4 minutes ago. So, understand why it happened, but that's a tough one.
Yeah. Dardoch though shakes it off, puts hands on his head, and then immediately puts them back on his mouse and keyboard. Knows they have to keep playing, and Team Liquid have been forcing the pace of this game and really dictating in a lot of ways. Fabi's Jhin, still a silent underachiever in this one, but Cloud9 not done yet. You said it. That may be the steal that saved the game. We'll see how the next few minutes continue, because objectives are kind of off the map for this part. Phoenix busy in the top side. He's going to shove down a turret by the looks of things. Does have a Lich Bane built up, so he's awfully strong, but C9 straight down mid.
Yeah, and this is finally mid lane revenge maybe for Cloud9, because currently it's been Team Liquid just forcing down mid the entire game, but they're caught a little bit trying to push the top lane when they shouldn't have been, and C9 rotate to get a good turret.
That's with a super minion wave in there as well. TL did manage to take that after that, so Phoenix will collect the turret. It's equal now in structures, but Cloud9 definitely have to deal with the slew of minions streaming down the mid lane. Arrow hits Lolo.
Hello? Phoenix isn't here.
Taunt up there as well. Lolo actually going to get chunked out enough. Bard ulti does miss Fabi as he gets out from under the ulti, but Impact still chasing forward. Dardoch gets snared up. Phoenix still here, but he's looking for a play.
Yeah, I mean, Team Liquid, they do triple Infernal Drake, so they're feeling really confident. They're going to go.
Oh, Smoothie snared up, and Impact has to go back in onto Phoenix, but Impact unborrowed there by the Rek'Sai. Puts up the Spirit's Refuge and flashes out to safety. Cloud9 just need to bail, but TL don't want to let them. Phoenix flashes in and is going to get a couple flashes out of the deal. Cleanses in, Jensen again snared up, and Phoenix takes him out. But Cloud9 firing back away. Impact goes back in. Sneaky with a double kill, going to turn things around. Phoenix going to fall as well, and Cloud9 going to barely turn that around.
Yeah, I mean, Team Liquid was trying to go in with the 4v5, like a full hard engage 4v5 right there, and I think the setup for that play is just an example of how Team Liquid can't have Phoenix off on his own in a side wave, because the instant they expose one of their damage dealers and say that he can't collapse on a fight is the instant that Cloud9 can force that numbers advantage, and they do so. They get the kill early on in the fight, and then the overexposure by Team Liquid afterwards. I can understand why they wanted to stay aggressive, but it just wasn't in the cards because of a well-played fight by Cloud9. See the instant kill onto Lorlo. Team Liquid dodges out from the rest of the fight, and then they're so confident. Triple Infernal Drake, 24% more attack damage and ability power. They want to go, but Cloud9 honestly didn't burn that much in the initial fight. They still have Shen ultimate, and Sneaky has been getting a lot of farms throughout this game, so he can do a bunch of damage on the backside. Team Liquid split focus. Phoenix goes way ahead in this fight. Then the gold card hits him, then he cleanses it, but he still takes a bunch of damage as Sneaky unloads on Ashe, and then Sneaky just chains a bunch of damage. Meteos able to flash back into the backside, kill them as well, and it's essentially 4 kills for 1 for Cloud9, and that Baron steal, mighty critical to keep this game going.
Yep.
Gold is even.
Game straight back to even footing here. Baron back up in 20 seconds. If you have a look at the damage from that last team fight, Phoenix did work, but that was a situation that TL didn't need to be in. Like you said, if he's there at the start of that fight, that grass straight through the other side into Jensen's bar.
Yeah, exactly, and Lorlo wasn't there. So even though Shen only did 663 damage, the amount of damage he could soak without suffering deaths is just through the roof. Like, if TL had that kind of tank, then Phoenix would have been able to continue to deal damage. But as we've seen, Team Liquid needs to remain resilient. They need to stop C9 from getting split push priority, and they need to be the ones to dictate to the team with Twisted Fate and Shen, and they're in position to do so with deep wards.
It's a critical moment in this game as well. Baron has just respawned. Drake, next one will be Mountain, is up in a minute 30. And all the summoners are back available. Teleports at the ready. Team Liquid going to try and retake the mid inhib that just respawned. Smoothie going to get snared up.
Yeah, I do have to point out that Sneaky is a full damaging item ahead of Fabi right now. Fabi's gone QSS, and there's already the Last Whisper upgrade right there. Lord Dominic's Regards completed for Sneaky, so he's dealing a good bit more damage than Fabi.
Well, Cloud9, we'll see if they can hold the siege. Team Liquid are just looking to take this safely, if possible. Lolo also starting pressure in the bottom lane. So Impact there to answer, but can't really stop the Trundle. Can just delay him.
Yeah. Dardoch's got to be a little bit careful not to take too much poke. They do not have Ocean Drakes after all. It's hard for them to sustain back up. Lorlo will be timing out of his Glimpse of the Void shortly. He's got about 3 to 4 minutes left on that. Still very powerful. He's winning the duels against Impact for now.
And we expect that. You know, Ravenous built up. Warden's Mail and the Spirit Visage also done for Lolo, so starting to hit that big unkillable I kill you Trundle situation. And Phoenix as well. We saw it in the last fight. He has 3 damage items with half a Void stuff done as well.
Phoenix left mid lane again and walked over Ward, so C9's going to try and make a play in this mid lane if they see it.
They've got the ultis. Trigger's not pulled just yet. Smoothie looking for an opening, but Dardoch loved that play. Just playing straight up in their face saying, hey, you want to use those big ultis? Come hit me.
Yeah, Deadman's played as well, so he's really fast too, so it's actually really hard to even hit him with an ultimate.
Back in with the team. Lolo's starting to push in top lane now. This is, as I said, a very tense moment in this game. Team's looking for an opening before they commit to the objective, but Drake is back up. TL straight to the area.
Yep, there's a ward in the back for C9. Maybe they try and collapse down on it. This would be a bit of a desperation. They could get the jump on him. Lorlo still has to time the teleport to come in. Technically, Team Liquid could delay and let Trundle kill the turret, which is actually what they should go for unless Cloud9 land an initiation, because they have to back away. And now, TL should be able to get the Drake.
And that's a TP burnt. Who is it? It is Impact.
He can still Shen ult back in.
Yep.
Which is interesting, but C9 had to give up the position to do that. So this should be Mountain Drake going easily over. Maybe they try and threaten Baron.
Maybe. I mean, Cloud9 are over there, but TL have plenty of wards in the area. Cloud9 will just trade vision of the area more than anything else, but they've certainly given up on that Drake. That's going to be the 4th now for Team Liquid. They've had some real good Drake spawns this game. Oh, the Dragon will be the next one, of course, but 3 Infernals on a mountain. As soon as TL win a fight, it feels like the game will end on the spot.
Yeah, and they're so powerful for that fight. But they're going to try and get a pick here.
They're looking for it's actually Phoenix. He's been caught out. Meteor's able to take him down. All the globals in and C9 with a power play.
Yeah, the longer this game goes, the more coordinated C9 seem to be getting and the more they're capitalizing on these movements. Dardoch had just ulted back in on the top side of the map, and immediately they go for Phoenix in the mid lane. They burn both the summoners and they get a kill. And that's a 300 CS Victor, who is the majority of Team Liquid's damage in these team fights. So that buys them more time.
Phoenix made a go of it, though. Almost killed Sneaky in the 1v5, but couldn't get it done as Cloud9 now look to take control of the Baron area and quite possibly start it. Phoenix is dead for 20 seconds longer, and Sneaky's just made his way back in.
Yeah, and there's been recalls for Team Liquid. Jhin is a great Baron stopper. Dardoch's got to be careful not to get bursted out. Same with Lorlo.
Lorlo's stunned up, though. He's getting chased out, but the ulti's out from Jhin. He's trying to delay it, but Impact's going to lock him up. Sneaky chased up, though, by Dardoch. Cloud9 still looking to move in. The front line's there, but Dardoch has to move in. Baron's still doing DPS as well. Slowly going to get chased out, but Impact and Dardoch going to tussle as they're really trying to kill Sneaky, but Dardoch's dead. TL just don't have enough to break.
Yeah, they don't have enough to break C9, but they do have enough to stop them from doing Baron. And if you're considering a total cost of stop the enemy team from getting Baron for 1 death, I think Team Liquid actually played that very well, considering how scattered they were on the approach. Dardoch did a lot of distraction. He's incredibly tanky. Lorlo got a good ultimate off of to become as tanky as possible. But now we're going to get to see the pick right here. Yeah, just he cleanses it right away, but that means he has no cleanse for the gold card. And they Shen ult as well, just in case, in my opinion, the rest of the team was there.
Sneaky, so close to not dying.
Yeah.
That was, the Aegis shield was required to not get him killed, because the last blip of the ulti would have done it. You can see how crucial Phoenix is to this team, just based on that particular play. Despite the fact that, yeah, should not be standing there with no vision of C9 and all their globals.
Yeah, and if this gets super late, Phoenix will be building a death cap most likely as his final item, and that's pushing him towards absurdity. Although with no magic resist, he will still be fairly vulnerable to Jensen's one shot as well. Like, Twisted Fate, even though he has so much mid-game pressure, and this is one of the reasons he's a staple of competitive play, his late game is also insane. When you stack up a gold card with an 800 AP and a stacked deck, you can one-shot a Squishy as Twisted Fate, and the wild cards continually cut through team fights. So C9 still has a chance of winning this game if they continue to scale out and make opportunistic plays.
And again, as we push later and later, it's going to be execution that matters the most. C9 showed they could do it in the first game. Can Team Liquid demonstrate that they can actually fight C9 at these later stages of the game? The gold is still dead even between the two sides, but Team Liquid tipping the scales with those 4 Drakes. Cloud9, they have to find the right angle, because if they miss it, I think this game just ends.
Yeah, and all of C9's wins.
Oh, Sneaky! Peeled up, and there's the combo win. Fabi gets the kill, but the Bard ulti might keep it alive. TL is charging forward as Jensen's going to try and kite it out. Dardoch straight in the other lines as Meteos pops the ulti to get out to safety. Impact just taunts himself out. Meteos is trying to get something done, but he gets shut down, and TL going to take mid and maybe more. Jensen caught up as well. Phoenix blows him up, and that could be it.
Pace your time. That was just a breakdown from Cloud9. They'd been stalling this out, finding opportunities so well, and a very telegraphed run up the mid lane with an exposed inhibitor is probably going to end the game because they get 3 kills on priority targets.
Yep, there's too much work done, and TL, with plenty of power behind them, are going to take Game 2's Nexus and force us to a final game. What an adjustment Team Liquid made in a very difficult situation.
Yep.
Smiles all around, but one more game left to play. Can Liquid do it again?
Mental fortitude for Team Liquid. Everything stacked against them. Had a big lead before they had to remake the first Game 2, come back at it. A lot of lesser teams would just tilt right off the face of the earth. But Team Liquid definitely does not. They kept the aggression up. They stayed aggressive. Dardoch made a bunch of big plays, and amazingly, they dictated to the team with Shen, Twisted Fate, Ashe, who was just like playmaking in a nutshell, but it was Team Liquid who continued to make the plays and push us to a pivotal Game 3.
And it's rough for Cloud9 because they think, you know what, we kind of won the macro game in Game 1. Let's pick even more global pressure. And they kind of got run over in a lot of those spots. Like, yes, they fought Meteos' Baron Steel was a valiant attempt at keeping that game afloat. But at the end of the day, there was just too much there for TL. And I don't know what C9 think now, being like, we kind of got a second chance at it.
Yeah.
Now we have to play Game 3. Momentum absolutely there for Team Liquid.
Yeah, and I think one of the big things that gave them that momentum was their intense focus on a Jensen in the mid lane. Like, as good as that guy is at dodging ganks, there were constantly people in his lane. And it wasn't just Dardoch giving him good pressure. It was a roam from Matt. It was a roam from Lorlo. Fabi would ult in. Like, everyone was ganging up on Jensen. You could never get the control in that game to start dictating his Twisted Fate, and that forces the Game 3.
Well, Liquid does come out on top in Game 2, so that is going to force a Game number 3. But for a review of that last game, let's go back to Dash and Freak.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. Liquid fighting against the mental odds of having to have a remade Game 2. Sure. They come back and they win it again, pushing us to a Game 3, so we get to see our Game 3 between these two teams. But let's dive right into this one. Let's look at the team comms first. Once again, Trundle going into the hands of Lorlo. We do see C9 switch things up. They say we'd rather have the Shen matchup into the Trundle this time around.
Yeah.
And for the most part in the 1v1,
it's okay.
Dealt fine with it.
I mean, by the end, we saw that Trundle was having the push lead once again because you're just not going to really win the 1-on-1, and he's not the type of player to bring out Jax and stuff and try to, like, find a way to outstat him. So, okay, that's Impact as a player, whatever. It was serviceable. It was fine, and it was something that Jat talked about during the game. Though is you're bringing in Shen, you're bringing in TF, you're bringing in Ashe, and yet it's still Liquid who are finding ways to pull the trigger much better than you. And some of that is Trundle is supposed to get ahead at least a little bit in that matchup. Trundle can even pillar to knock out the Stand United, which he actually did at least once in this match as well. So, but yeah, you saw Lurlo get the most popular fighter in the game and do well with it.
And I love the point though that you coupled, which is that the comp that C9 built. Plenty of globals in Ashe, TF, and Shen. And with that early freeze that we saw Impact have early in the game, Liquid deciding we're going to throw all of our resources towards that mid lane. We're going to do everything in our power to keep Jensen down. And that's key, right? Now the TF does not have the ability to actually affect the side lanes and create advantages for Cloud9 that way. All that being said, Jad did mention that Jensen was playing as well as he could have with all of that. I mean, it was just an insane number of dodges. His micromanagement when it comes to dodging skill shots is absolutely insane.
I got to agree with here. So here we go, the first one. That's a miss. I'm going to say that one is a miss more than anything else.
Yeah.
But, walks away, lands the gold card, and all right. I'm going to blame Matt for that one. Maybe he tried to Mad Life the Flash, but...
But even still, so cool and calm under pressure. He's level 1, doesn't blow Flash, knows that he can lock the gold card, take the damage, and not die. Once again here.
All right. Reasonable size. He still gets slowed, and then that's the route. Yeah. I mean, he still gets hit, so that... I don't think he technically dodged.
He dodged.
That was Matt missing. I'm so far pegging this all on Matt being a little bit booty right now, but this one's good, right? So Dradok gets onto him, a great knockup, chaining the slows quite nicely. Jensen, right, walks the gold card. Probably doesn't need to spam the Q, but I think he thought he was dead. And then you see left, right, left, right, left, right.
He's slowed when he does that.
Right. So he's trying to show Dradok which way he's going, so that Dradok will lead him. If we're going to keep playing the game of misses, Dradok should have just aimed farther left. With that slow in that range, you can actually guarantee a hit.
Yeah.
So, but again, Jensen made him think I'm juking right, so he aims to his right, and he goes, but I'm going left. And, again, he overleads him. Ideally, you line up a skill shot where, like, the edge of the hitbox hits the back of him, but if he turns, you're still in the middle of the champion.
Yeah. Well, most of the time when you're within that range and somebody's slowed, you should actually just fire it straight at their model.
Well, yeah.
Because they won't be able to move enough.
That's exactly the point, right? Is even if he keeps walking, I still tag you with the back.
Either way, Jensen just plays mind games with people when it comes to dodging skill shots. So a small shout out for him, even in the loss. And now let's dive into that loss, though, because this game was very similar to game 1 in that we spent a large majority of the game with an even gold distribution. The only thing really separating the teams was the dragon advantage that Team Liquid had been accumulating over time. But it definitely, unlike the remade game 2, Liquid had not built a gold advantage moving into that mid portion of the game.
It was them with nice map control. Of course, the Drakes are really big, and I'll talk about that in a second. And it's them waiting for their lane match to start working better. Phoenix with insane wave control, and they're coming into his lane a whole lot more, and Jhin making some plays happen. It's and again, it's Trundle starting to win the 1-on-1 as well, where he's starting to push under the turret and make things difficult. You were seeing defensive summoner TPs out of the Shen just to hold his turret alive, things like that are happening in the late game. But then, if you're putting all of your eggs in the Victor basket, Infernal Drake is the best Drake for you, right? If you're actually scaling off of raw ability power or raw attack damage like a Jhin, now that's the best Drake. Because Infernal Drake doesn't help Rek'Sai do more damage, doesn't help Karma move faster. She has like 30 ability power, then no one cares. But if it's all about Phoenix killing everything and it's all about these really high damage snipes, then yes, Infernal Drake is boosting those guys by a lot. 24% more AD when you've got 500 AD
is a lot.
Is a lot, right? And when you've got 700 ability power, it's a lot. And so that's really boosting what those guys are doing. And when you see things like Sneaky nearly get killed in a 1v5, it's like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna be honest, that's some Infernal Drake stuff right there. And that was a nice sort of alignment there for Liquid.
Well, and that's the thing. It was the fantastic control around the Dragon that definitely gave Team Liquid some allowances, as they did have a couple lost team fights, as well as some picks, right?
Yeah.
I mean, and that's to be expected when you're playing against Ashe and TF. The picks will happen, but they were given the allowances of having gotten that 24% extra bonus AD and AP. Because then when they finally did, they would win a fight eventually.
Right. I mean, that's the thing. It's what was so beautiful about Liquid is, like, it's so easy to be strung around the map constantly by all the globals, all the engaged tools, and be like, yeah, we're going to abuse your teleport here. We're going to kill your AD carry, so Trundle show up, go down there. Well, no, because they just found ways to not have those cooldowns miss and still be in locations in time. And that's so rare. And I know the cast has talked about it, but I want to sort of underscore that as well. It is so rare to keep up in map rotations against triple global like that, and it happened. Massive props to Liquid to find the ways to go in. At a certain point, there's also some things that C9 probably missed, and I would love to go, back in the game again and see like where were the opportunities that they did have. But hey, really solid by them. Massive props.
I want to take a look at one team fight from the game. 21 minutes into the game, mid lane, Team Liquid's going to come out 4 for 0 on this one. However, lose the Baron to Edios on the back end of this. But as Jah had mentioned, with the 4-0, if they had secured the Baron here, this would have pretty much put a stamp on the game.
This gravity well is insane. It catches up Jensen. Smoothie walks in as well. And honestly, this Jensen just gets stuck in a Chaos Storm, right? They're tunneled so hard on trying to kill off this Victor, they don't actually get the damage down, and then they're locked into a Chaos Storm Death Ray combo, right? The raw ability power actually bumps his shield health as well, right? Like all these tools definitely relevant. And yeah, there's just enough protection here that they keep him alive, the CC, the shields out of map, all that stuff. Super, super relevant. And that's the thing is this was one of the few times that C9 actually pulled the go button, but it was with all the teleports and all the roaming tools available. C9 needs to do that a second time. And then here, Meteos flashes the second half of the Death Ray. Okay, good flash by Lola, but everyone else should have stopped hitting it.
Yeah.
Of course, a 6 smite, great play by Meteos to secure that one, but that is lack of discipline by Liquid. For as many good plays they made, that was obviously a big mistake.
Right, but that's one of the examples when I talk about the allowances that they had built because of the dragons they had secured. Sure, you lose the Baron, you lose a little bit of gold, but as soon as that Baron buff is gone, and the gold is back.
Dead anyway.
And the gold. Well, actually, a few people had been. So, like for example, Sneaky had the buff. Bunny or Smoothie had the buff. But again, they had built in these allowances because we've already got 16% damage. So sure, you get this increased AD and AP from the Baron buff itself for 4 minutes. But then as soon as that disappears, we're back in the driver's seat. We have the stat advantage again as Team Liquid. So Cloud9 only had about 4 minutes in which they could operate with some kind of advantage or with an even stat line.
But the whole time they're just kind of behind in this one, right? They're getting somewhat out rotated. They're losing more of their lanes overall, and massive props to Liquid for controlling it the whole time.
Player of the game going to go to Dardoch on this one. 3-1-8 on that Rek'Sai. We talk about running the game through Victor and high damage composition. Well, the score line that Victor had was a lot to do with the impact that Dardoch had on the early game in his and putting pressure in lanes.
Absolutely, absolutely. You have great beneficiaries. Phoenix did a lot of damage. He was the recipient of a lot of these ganks. But yeah, Dardoch missing a smite or not, honestly doing quite well for himself. It's funny because in games like this, you often hand it to the jungler because they've just affected so much of the map that it was a team-wide win. It wasn't just like this guy smashed lanes so the game is over. Yeah, I like Dardoch for this.
Now, Dardoch, we know that this is a player that thrives off of emotion. He's an emotional player, just like I Will Dominate was.
Sure.
And, just moments ago, he kind of charged back on stage. He's pumped for Game 3. We're pumped for Game 3. Of course, Bunny Fufu is coming back in for Game 3. I'm sure he's pumped for Game 3 as well. But I think a lot of people coming into the series would not have expected it to go to 3 games. Based on what we had seen from these two teams, a lot of people would say, hey, Cloud9, I'm expecting these guys to come out and probably pretty easily 2-0, but Liquid's coming out and they're throwing punches hard, and they're looking to take the series against our third-place team.
I totally agree, and keep in mind, this is Liquid, coming into the back, like the final match of the first round of games, and keep in mind, first couple of weeks, first couple of matches, they played with Moon, right? Some maybe unfortunate losses. If they had played with this lineup the whole time, they might have had 1 or 2 more match wins and be like, oh yeah, that is one of those top 4 teams. Yeah, they'd just be sitting there like replacing Envy or maybe even replacing C9 at third. If this was an alternate universe, this lineup was here at the beginning, who knows? And so now we get to watch this and 9 more matches of Liquid with this roster.
Exactly.
Look pretty good.
And this series itself is turning out to be a fantastic one. We've got a tie on our hands, 1-1. So take this opportunity to get on Facebook, open up Twitter, call your mom, tell your friends. Team Liquid and Cloud9 are heading into Game 3. Well, really, it's Game 4. It's our first Game 4 of a best-of-3 series that we've ever had. You're watching the North American LCS